So Texas Wine Growers is a group of wineries in Texas that focus on Texas wine authenticity. So grow 100% Texas grapes, make 100% Texas wine.
Howdy, Vine Trippers. I wanted to take just a moment before the show begins to tell you a little bit about the Texas Wine Lover website and app. It is a definite must-have for anyone wanting to explore the Texas wine industry. Now, they have a website. It's txwinelover.com, but they also have an app that you can actually download to your phone. You can find it on the Apple App Store or on the Google Play Store for Android devices. And it's going to be kind of your one-stop shop for when you go out to visit these great places. So you get to listen to them here on the podcast or watch them on YouTube to learn about these wineries. But when you go to visit, make sure you're checking out that app, because I'm sure you're probably going to want to visit other places in the area as well. And you can do incredible searches. It's the most comprehensive listing of winery information in Texas. And you can look for wineries in your area to go visit multiple places. You can sort those listings by finding out ones that are kid-friendly, maybe some that are pet-friendly. If you want to look for events or things that are going on, if you want to find those that can host RVs, just about any category you can think of, you can actually sort those listings and find wineries around you to go visit. The app is free to use for you and I. So it's a perfect, again, hand-in-hand tool when you're going out to visit wineries. Listen to them on this podcast, watch them on YouTube, and then start making your plans to go visit and use the Texas Wine Lover app when you go. Now, it can also be a great tool. Maybe you're not even looking for a winery. You just happen to be traveling to some place in Texas, and you just might think, I've got a little extra time. I wonder if there are any wineries in the area. You can actually look them up in the Texas Wine Lover app. You can search either by the name of a winery, or it's got a map view. So you can actually pull up a map of the area around you and see locations of wineries near you and go visit them and support the Texas wine industry. So you got to use the Texas Wine Lover app. It goes perfectly with this podcast. So make sure you check it out before you go on your next trip among the vines. Again, it's www.txwinelover.com, or look up the Texas Wine Lover app on your favorite phone app store and make sure you get that downloaded and use it frequently. You will benefit from it, and ask for Texas wines. Let's see the Texas wine industry prosper and go visit some of these fun places that I'm bringing to you on the show. Texas Under Vine, an exploratory podcast to scout out the best Texas wine country has to offer. I'm your wine guide, Scott, and I'm here to lead you on an auditory expedition to the vineyards and wineries across the great Lone Star State. Each episode will cover a different vineyard, winery, or wine-related business operating in Texas. You'll hear interviews, descriptions, and details about each location that will excite you to visit and experience them for yourself. Ready to plan a wine tour? Use these episodes to choose the most interesting spots for you and your friends to check out. Most of all, enjoy hearing about the rapidly growing wine industry in the state and what makes our wines and wineries the best. Howdy, fellow Vine Tripper. Welcome to a special bonus episode 9 of the Texas Under Vine podcast. And before we get into the meat of the podcast, I did want to let you know about an event that's coming up. The Texas Wine Auction is going to be May 1st and May 2nd of this year. It's an event that I've been able to help out with in the past and really had a great time with. I'm going to go help out again with it this year. So if you come and attend the Texas Wine Auction, we might get a chance to meet. So make sure you say hello if you see me there. but I encourage you to go if you've never been. It's a great event that's going to take place at Carter Creek Winery Resort and Spa. You can go back to one of my previous episodes to hear about that particular location, but it's going to be held at that location, and you can get a room there for the night. It's going to be a 2-night event. They're going to start on Friday, May 1st. They're going to have a concert on that night with Dale Watson and Bree Bagwell. So that should be a really fun event. It's a kind of new thing they're adding this year. And then on the 2nd, it's going to be the actual wine auction event with beautiful dinner, the auction items, everything. There's a lot of great Texas wine being poured. It's a really fun and great event because it gives back to the local community, to the wine industry, to really good causes, and helps advance the Texas wine industry. So a great event, the Texas Wine Auction, again, May 1st and 2nd, and you can go to texaswineauction.com and see about getting your tickets there. Okay, as you know, most of the episodes of this podcast are vignettes of different great wine destinations that we have throughout this state of Texas. But ever so often, I like to take a break and do one of these bonus episodes that highlight some of the people and the organizations behind the scenes that really make things happen with the Texas wine industry. And today is no exception to that. For today's episode, I'm taking you back to a grand tasting event that occurred on March 1st at Swallows Eve in Fredericksburg, Texas. This particular event was hosted by the Texas Wine Growers Association, and while I was there, I had the chance to sit down and talk to their incoming president, Brian Shigoli of Sandy Road Vineyards, as well as his partner in crime, his compatriot, Reagan there at Sandy Road Vineyards. And so in this particular interview, we're going to dive in to what it means for a wine to truly be authentically Texas, and what truth in labeling laws for wine and transparency are the future of our wine industry here in Texas. So who are the Texas wine growers? Well, the Texas Wine Growers Association is a group of member wineries and vineyards that are committed to authentic Texas wines, 100% Texas grapes, 100% Texas wines. It's a simple philosophy, but it makes a big difference when you're really going to taste wine here in Texas and you really want to get a sense of place and terroir. As you'll hear in the interview, they believe that if you're going to come have a Cabernet in Texas, it should have its own authentic flavor that doesn't taste the same as a Napa Cabernet or a French Cabernet. Because it was grown here in Texas, it tastes like Texas. We have our own unique terroir and sense of place and time in the wines that we produce here in this state. It doesn't mean that they're bad. They're incredibly great wines that compete on the world stage. They just taste different from other places because they're grown here. You don't want to taste California fruit or French fruit or Australian fruit here in Texas. You come to Texas to taste Texas. And part of that mission is working with the state capitol and the legislature. And one of their proudest achievements was in 2021, where they were influential in getting past the truth in labeling laws for wine, that on a wine label now, if you look at a wine label and you see an AVA or a county listed or a vineyard listed on that particular bottle label, you can be assured that is 100% Texas wine from 100% Texas fruit. One of their distinct principles at the Texas Wine Growers Association, with their 17 member wineries and about 30 or so vineyards, is to distinguish between the Texas wine industry and the wine industry in Texas. And Brian will go over a little bit more of that in the interview. But basically, it just means there are some wine destinations here in Texas that don't necessarily make wine here. They just sell wine. So they may bring in wine from other locations and sell it as Texas wine, which is confusing to the customer. And they're really big on transparency with your wines. Not that the wine should be transparent, but that the label should. And so you should know when you are pouring a wine or having a wine poured from you, where that wine was grown and made. There shouldn't be a question. There shouldn't be an issue with even part of that wine maybe being mixed in with fruit from other locations. It is 100% Texas. And you as the consumer have the right to know that. And in addition to all this transparency and truth in labeling, they're really big on the AVAs that we have here in Texas. We currently have 8 in the state. There's a couple of new ones that are close to being coming on board. We're really excited about those two, but they're really pushing with government authorities, with universities, things like that, to really distinguish even more AVAs and sub-AVAs that we have here in Texas, those American viticulture areas, so that we can distinguish not only Texas, but the distinct regions that we have here in Texas that have different soils, different weather, different elevations, all those things that affect different flavors in the wine. And to help with your experience of drinking wine across the state that you want to know is from Texas, they also have been pushing to come up with a list that's on their website of vetted 100% Texas wines that are available for restaurants, grocery stores, things like that, that want to stock 100% Texas wine and to be able to find those. And you'll hear from Brian a little bit in the interview about how that process works. And to help with the awareness and the importance of Texas wine, they make appearances at several different wine festivals throughout the year, including ones like Rootstock, which you've heard me mention on this podcast before, the Texas Wine Jam, which I've mentioned on this podcast as well. Making sure that people at these events that are coming to drink wine understand the concept and mission of what Texas wine growers is all about. They also have a new plaque, a seal that they've issued to all of their member wineries so that when you pull up to the front gate of the wineries, you're getting ready to come in, you should hopefully see that sign on proud display, and you can know when you see that exactly what you're getting in your glass. And if you're unsure and you want to know that the winery before you go is 100% Texas, you can go to their website and find a list of all those member wineries so you know ahead of time. Now, this organization is going through a little bit of transition right now as the board is changing. So the incoming president will be Brian Shigoli of Sandy Road Vineyards, which I mentioned a moment ago. And he was able to sit down with me. He and Reagan Sividon own Sandy Road Vineyards. And I was able to pin both of them down. From what I understand from Brian, Reagan is a rare find to get onto a podcast. So be excited we got him here. Thank you, Reagan. But I've got both of them here on a couch where I was able to sit down and pick their brains about Texas wine, to pick their brains a little bit about Sandy Road. So you're going to get a little preview of their own vineyard at the beginning, but then a little bit more about Texas wine growers and exactly what it is they do here in the state. All right, that's enough of me talking. Let's go right on to that interview so you can hear a little bit from Brian and Reagan themselves.
Howdy, Vine Trippers. So I'm actually here at Swallows Eve in Fredericksburg. It's a really cool little event center out here in Fredericksburg, kind of out here in the countryside a little bit. And today, Texas Wine Growers is hosting a grand tasting event at Swallows Eve. And I'm lucky to be included here as part of this celebration and getting a chance to actually interview both Brian and Reagan. Brian is actually the incoming president of the Texas Wine Growers. And so we look forward to hearing a little bit from him about this organization. But first, I want to hear a little bit about their background. So without further ado, let's turn to them. So I'll let either of you guys go, whatever order you'd like. But I'd like to hear a little bit about your wine journey. How did you get started in the wine business?
Well, a good buddy, best friend bought a vineyard back in 2007. And after spending time there, I became employed in 2012. And, I just got bit by the bug of, making Texas wines, working with agriculture. I was in a, construction industry before that. And, so it was a big jump. It was a great jump. And, working with Spicewood Vineyards and Ron, kind of just, I fell in love with the wine industry here in Texas. So it just kind of spiraled into, having a dream of starting our own winery in our vineyard, down the road. And, stars aligned, where between our wives having a location right in the heart of the Texas wine industry down there on 290, and our family's passion for just wine and everything, it was an easy sell to Brian and Adrian and my wife. I say it was an easy sell. To kind of let's give this thing a try.
Let's do this.
Let's get when you're making wine with other people's grapes, I feel like you're only telling part of the story.
Right.
And if you truly want to be authentic with your wine, you have to grow your own grapes. And so that's where it all started, just want to do it all from the ground up, be able to tell the full story,
Sure.
of the farming aspect, but then also the wine aspect. So that's, kind of where Sandy Road got started. So
It was an easy It was an easy sell after about 3 or 4 bottles of wine.
yeah,
That was
I could,
that's how.
Isn't that the way all these
I
journeys
could get
start?
this guy, just give him some wine first.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, you
And
can
then he's okay.
convince me to do anything.
I hope
Yeah.
your kids aren't listening to this because
They haven't learned that trick
they
yet.
hadn't learned that
No.
trick yet. But anyways, yeah, no. So
They will in time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just it's a good Christmas conversation, probably where we're just having some wine and do something with the place. I mean, they've had the land in their family for over 100 years now, and since the 50s, it's set native. And I mean, we're a stone's throw from my work at Ron Yates, and I was staying at my mother-in-law's house because I was living in Cedar Park at the time. So it was too far to drive back and forth, especially during harvest. And, so why not, we need to do something with this place, you have a lot of potential here. So, that's the idea of Sandy Road that came up, let's.
I always like to tell people that. So he married into the family about 12 years ago, 13 years ago. Time flies. But going out to the family farm and grandparents were there, and we would be there for the holidays and drinking a lot of wine and sitting out on the porch swing and watching the sunset. And
Yeah.
we're like, man, this is the life. Like we gotta figure out how to be out here. And then Reagan was like, well, Ron would probably let us make some wine over there. And so we're, it kind of just snowballed from there. And
One step after the other.
yeah, we did everything ourselves. So it was, we started small and kind of just one foot in front of the other and slowly grew it into what it is today. So
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. And so, as you both own, I guess, as the Sandy Road Vineyards, what are your particular roles at the place? Who's the winemaker? Who's the farmer? Who's the marketer? Who's the what do y'all?
I
do
mean,
everything.
I'll say I do make the wine. The vineyard we overlap. Brian and I.
Reagan takes care of all the winemaking from the dirt all the way to the glass. He's the man. He's the man.
Not.
He's the man.
He's selling himself short because he's very beneficial with what we're doing in the vineyard. I mean, I've got a lot of things going on, and so I rely heavily on Brian being out there to just walking through the vineyard more so than I can get away. I mean, right now I'm stuck because I've got a shortage of labor right at this moment, so I'm stuck doing some over taking care of spice from Ron Yates. So having Brian there,
Yeah, this year it's all hands on deck this year.
It's like, what are you doing tomorrow? If
There's
you
a
don't have
big-
anything going on, we could talk after this podcast because I got some pruning to do.
Yeah, big labor shortage right now. So that's
bring
pretty
my
much
shears.
Yeah, but it's a family effort. Yeah, it's a family effort. So even down to the blending and stuff, I mean, it's just all four of us. So
Reagan, you're the winemaker.
yes,
Brian, you're the wine drinker.
That's how it works. The wine drinker and the wine seller. Yeah, that's the. So I do all the business side. Yeah. So I was in software and tech in Austin in my previous life, and was a startup guy, and just kind of used to building businesses from basically 0 to 100. And so then when Reagan was like, "Hey, let's start a wine business," I was like, "That's right up my alley. Like that's what I know how to do." So I take care of all the business side and all of that, and I'm the one that's in the tasting room all the time. So you'll see me when you come out and visit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. And then when did y'all officially launch Sandy Road? When did it open to the public?
we started. Oh, when did it open to the
Yeah, those are
public?
2 different dates. Yeah.
Oh, well, then let's get both of them.
2016 is when we started.
Okay, when
Yeah.
you first started.
Grapes from around 2016. We made a small bit of wine in 2018.
Okay.
That was some High Plains fruit. Wonderful fruit from Farmhouse Vineyards and Sangiovese from. Help me, I've gone blank. Way Out West Vineyards. That was in 2019.
Yeah, we had some great wine from them.
So we did offset with some stuff in 2018, 2019, 2020. We started producing some of our own
Okay.
state stuff, and so we're pretty much all estate. Our white wines we do bring in they're Texas wines, but they're Del City. So and they're wonderful wines too. I mean, I love Del City. So
Our long-term goal is to be 100% estate. So we're working toward that.
How big is your vineyard you have on site?
We personally have 16 acres. And then about 4 years ago, our neighbor, we actually put a back gate into our vineyard just to get to his, but we put in another 6 acres with him. So we got 22 acres that we're producing under the Sandy Road label.
Nice. That's a good size vineyard.
It is a good size. So, and there's 11 different varietals in that. So everything's 2-acre plantings.
Okay.
So, but it's a mix of French, Italian, Spanish
Yeah.
varietals.
All right. And not to give away too much, because I want to have a future episode with you guys to highlight Sandy Rose, but I hear there's a treehouse you can go to there as well.
Yes, sir, there is.
What is that all about?
Well, it's what it started out was an old mobile home that we had on the property that ended up burning down and get rid of. And then once it burnt down, there was a big old 100-foot of 8-inch I-beam. And so, I don't know, juices got flowing, I guess. And then I was just like,
Another several bottle of wine.
yeah.
End story. Yeah.
So I just was like, let's make a treehouse in this tree. Cause we literally, there's at the top of the section there, and save this for the next one, but there's one extra row that we never put in there. All our blocks are 22 rows, except for the top block is 21 rows, because there's this gorgeous tree. And my wife basically said, you've won all this conversations about pulling trees out of the vineyard, because birds are the worst thing for those roosting spots. Then I get peck and vinegar. And so, but she was like, you're not taking this tree down. And so I just me, it was like, fine, I'm gonna put a treehouse in here one day. Well, that treehouse turned out to be this, a big deck. It's on the very last row, so you're overlooking the last row, and it's a gorgeous spot. You're up in the tree, you got a great view, and it's worked out well for us.
We call it an elevated tasting. So
I see what you did there.
He's the marketing guy.
I love it. There's that marketing in action.
yeah, that's right.
So, well, give us a little bit of an overview of what is Texas Wine Growers and what's it all about, and how did you get involved with it?
Yeah. So we joined probably 2 or 3 years ago. And so Texas Wine Growers is a group of wineries in Texas that focus on Texas wine authenticity. So grow 100% Texas grapes, make 100% Texas wine, right? Don't bring in grapes or wine from anywhere else. Like, we believe that making Texas on the world stage of wine is about place and terroir. And to do that, you need to actually grow the wine in that place, make the wine in that place, believe it or not.
See how that works.
That's it. Yeah. But that's actually not widely adopted here in Texas. So there's only 17 of us in this group right now. I think it's some of the best wineries in Texas. And you'll see them out here at this event. But we're 100% focused on authenticity, transparency. The consumer needs to know what's in their glass. And if you want Texas to be distinct and unique and wonderful on the world stage, it needs to taste different, right? Like if you have Cabernet in France or Cabernet in Napa or Cabernet in Texas, they should all taste different, distinct, unique.
In that area.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what we want to have happen and really kind of elevate Texas onto the world stage.
I mean, it's just like Fredericksburg peaches or Texas raised beef. Location matters. So
Especially if you're going to put the name on it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to call it a Fredericksburg peach, you don't want peaches from Atlanta coming in, right?
Exactly. That's right.
So, location matters. So, it's the same thing. It's Texas grown grapes.
Okay.
And so we promote all the AVAs in Texas. We are working with legislature and universities on creating new AVAs, new sub-AVAs, really dialing in Texas terroir and understanding the differences, because the state of Texas is bigger than France, right? And France, how many AVAs does France have, right? And we have 8 currently. So there's a lot of distinction that we can do in the Texas wine world, and we're just getting started. Yeah.
Well, and to clarify, there's 17 members of the organization. There's more than 17 that are probably growing Texas fruit and doing 100% Texas. But it's a organization that people can wineries can join in.
That's right.
So there are 17 member wineries currently.
That's right. Yeah. And also I lose count, but 20 or 30 vineyard members as well. So they grow Texas grapes, or you can also be a member if you're a vineyard.
Okay.
So,
and how did you guys get involved with Texas Wine Growers? You mentioned you were a part of it for the last 2 or 3 years.
yeah. So, it's where all the great winemakers and wineries are participating, and we were friends with a lot of them, and they were nice enough to invite us to join. And I was like, heck yeah, like that's what we're all about. We're all about Texas estate wine and
Missions aligned.
and the missions aligned, and they were all buddies of ours and doing great things. And we were like, heck yeah, we want to represent that. So that's how we got started.
Okay, so tell me a little bit then. There's Texas Hill Country Wineries, there's North Texas Winery Association, there's a lot of these kind of regional things. How does Texas Wine Growers as an organization kind of differ in its mission from some of those other regional type of wine associations?
Yeah. So I used to be on the board of TWGA, which is was the largest state organization.
Texas
for
Wine
Texas
Growers
wines.
and Grape Growers Association.
Texas Wine and Grape Brewers Association. Yeah. So, what I like to say is there's a wine industry in Texas, and then there's a Texas wine industry. And those are actually two different things, right? So most of the organizations in Texas that are associated with wine, I call a wine industry in Texas, right? Because they have members that are selling wine in all sorts of ways, right? So the wine permitting in Texas is pretty lenient, right? So you can actually be a wine bar. You can buy wine from California in a bottle, put your label on it, and sell it, and call yourself a winery.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay. So this is part of why our organization exists, because that is the wine industry in Texas. That's not the Texas wine industry. So Texas wine is wine that's grown in Texas, bottled in Texas, made in Texas by Texas winemakers, right? That's Texas wine. So those are in my mind, two totally different things.
Right.
So Texas Wine Growers organization is focused on the Texas wine industry, and it's got to be 100% Texas.
Are there wineries out there that are doing that, where they buy the wine from another location, bring it in, put their label on it, and try to represent it as Texas wine?
Absolutely.
Because that's very misleading.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And
So
how is the customer supposed to know?
that's right. That's our whole mission. That's what we're here for, is to represent that transparency and authenticity. Okay. So about 4 or 5 years ago, Texas Wine Growers championed legislation that was called Truth in Labeling. And it was a law that passed because before you could have a label on a bottle of wine, and it could say Texas on it, and it could be made from grapes from outside of Texas. Yeah. So some places would go get Napa Cabernet and put some percent of it into Texas wine and call it Texas wine, right? Which was totally legal, but confusing and misleading, right? So we worked to pass legislation that says, like, if it says a Texas AVA or a Texas county, it has to be 100% Texas grapes.
Okay.
Right. So as of 2021, that if you see that on a label, you're guaranteed that that's 100% Texas wine.
How does that align with the for sale in Texas only designation?
Right. So that's usually California wine in a bottle. Yeah, that's what that means. So yeah, if you see that on a label, that is not Texas wine.
Now, if somebody takes a wine from California, I don't mean to keep ragging on California. It's just
that's just where all the grapes come from. Yeah, absolutely.
But not to rag on California. Let me just rephrase. If there's a wine from some other place than Texas, they bring it in and they put their label on it. Do they have to put the FSITO on there, the for sale in Texas only, or could they actually represent it as Texas wine, even though it's not from Texas?
Well, I don't want to get in trouble legally. I'm not a lawyer on that, but I know that if it comes from Texas or from California, it has to say that. They have very specific rules, because if you take California grapes and you make that wine or have that wine in Texas, you can't actually sell it in California.
Okay.
So they're actually a lot
vice versa the
they're
other
actually
way.
a lot smarter about it than we are. They don't want that going back into California, but we allow that to come into Texas. So it's a little different.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And what got you into deciding to be the incoming president of the Texas Wine Growers?
Well, I have to blame
Just needed something else on your plate, or was it another bottle of wine?
Yeah, bottle of wine. No, I have to blame John Rivenberg for that. Yeah. So he's the previous president. And so a couple of years ago, I signed up to be the vice president. And so we kind of go from vice president to president to past president. So we're in that process, but
So when you stepped up to be,
but now I'm knee deep in it. So
when you set up to assist, you're like, oh wait, that means
Yeah.
I got to be president. Uh-oh.
so that's right.
And it's a 2-year term, is that correct?
Yeah.
So what is your kind of vision for the next 2 years? What do you have in mind for what you'd like to see the organization accomplish?
Absolutely. I mean, we're laser focused on marketing and working with consumers to raise awareness around authentic 100% Texas wine. So we're doing great festivals like this that we're here at today. We do other festivals. We show up at Rootstock in Waco. We do Wine Jam in Johnson City. So we're just out there promoting authentic Texas wine. We've also been involved in some legislation at the Capitol. So when things are in session, we try to find ways to promote and protect authentic Texas wine and to help people who are actually growing grapes and making Texas wine. So
I think John did an excellent job over the last couple of years, just from an outsider's perspective, of raising awareness of Texas wine growers. He did a lot of great marketing, I think of things like that, push for a lot of that legislation we talked about, which I want to come back to in a moment. But are you also looking to try to market to other wineries to get more members involved in the organization and things like that, trying to grow it?
We've grown our organization by quite a few this year. It's been really good. We've had a lot of vineyards join the organization. We just had Ready Vineyards and Slate Theory join, and we've got a couple others that are in the hopper that are about to join. So we're growing, and people are catching on that this is a great way to market authentic Texas wine. And
Yeah.
everybody who's doing that, we want them to be our best friends and come join us. So
because we want to taste that true Texas terroir. And I noticed a couple of episodes ago, I was actually out at Portree, who is one of your members who's pouring here today. And as I talked to Janet, I noticed as I pulled up outside, there was the Texas Wine Growers logo right out front on their sign. And I think that's a great symbol to people who are looking for that true Texas terroir. They see that, they know, okay, this is a place where I know I'm going to get Texas wine.
We just started doing that, so we're just getting that out there. But every one of our members has a nice big Texas Wine Growers logo that they can hang out on their front gate, so that as a consumer, when you're driving down the hill country and you're on 290 and you see that sign, you know that is real authentic Texas wine and you should stop there. And if you don't see that sign, maybe you should ask them, hey, where do you get your wine? Or how do you make your wine? Or who's your winemaker? Because if they can't answer that, then just keep on going.
Well, and it's a great thing, I think, for my viewers and my listeners. It's one of the questions I ask at the interview when I go to some of these places. But for my viewers and listeners, if you're at a winery that maybe you haven't seen one of my episodes for where I've asked that question and you're not sure, it never hurts to ask while they're pouring the wine, while you're drinking it. So where do you source your fruit? Where do you get it from? Where do you process your fruit? Do you make it here? And ask those questions to find out.
And they should know that.
Yeah, they should know that, right?
Know
And
that.
they
And
should
if they
share
don't
that
answer it
information.
right, then that does raise some flags. But the nice thing is, I think the mission statement's working because you do have a lot more just regular customers and consumers coming in asking that question. So I do say the benefits of this wine growers, has really been impactful because we have consumers coming in, asking those questions. And 10 years ago they weren't asking where your grapes came from. So, just keep trying to drive that message home.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, just 2 weeks ago, last episode, I was actually at Kerrville Hills with John, talked to him, but we talked a little bit about some of that legislation that he put in and that has been going through, and how it went really well in the House, but it didn't, because of other things that were going on in Congress, didn't quite make the Senate floor and all of that. What are your thoughts on future legislation? Are you wanting to try to take up that flag again and keep pushing that farm winery permit, or do you have other ideas in mind that you're looking for?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got a lot of ideas, so we'll
Chock full of them.
we'll keep throwing stuff on the wall until something sticks. But anything that will help vineyards and wineries in Texas, it's a tough market out there. And if you can get a tax incentive, or if you can get a little bit of benefit as an agricultural product in Texas, like we want to find ways to help farmers do that, because it's tough out there. The farm winery permit is I think is a great idea. It's still a great idea. It's a way to give a little bit of a tax incentive for folks who are growing Texas grapes, right? Be in agriculture and deal with Texas Mother Nature is a hard thing, and so any help to make it an even playing field, we think is a wonderful thing. I think if we take it up again, we tried to compromise with some of those wineries in Texas that are not Texas wineries, by offering a 75% kind of farm winery permit. If you do 75% Texas grapes, you can get the farm winery permit. Then that didn't work out to what we expected, so we're going to go 100%.
Yeah.
If you need to be 100% growing Texas grapes to be a farm winery permit in Texas, I
Right.
think. Yeah.
Our farming costs are a lot more than people importing it. So when you could support the wineries that are actually the wine growers, it's just helping the Texas wine industry because we could take the easy way out, and not absorb all those extra costs with the farming and the labor and stuff if we just wanted to bring in our own bulk wine and slap a different label on. But that's not what we choose to do. We want to really tell what Texas wine's about, the Texas grape industry. And I really feel like you got to almost be a grower in a sense to really tell that story, take the full aspect of it from the farming to the winery, to tell it.
Well, the French terroir, the term terroir, like so much goes into making that wine unique and special. And it's different than almost any other beverage in the world because you go from the actual dirt, right? The soil matters, where it's planted, what type of soil it's in, what the weather is, what the rain is, what the sun is, who's farming it, right? Like the actual people who farm it are different. The people who make the wine are different. So all of those things affect the wine, right? And so that's what makes place so special. And that's what we really want to showcase in Texas.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we picked on California, but when people go to Napa Valley for a wine excursion, they're not going there to drink Oregon wines. They want to taste Napa Valley wines. And the same thing, people come to Texas to taste the Texas wine. They should be able to go to a place to try Texas wine.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, I made a joke. We went to Paso Robles last Christmas with my wife and had a wonderful time. And I was up on top of a beautiful hill and I took a picture and posted on Instagram. I was like, oh, we're, spotting out a room for our new tasting room in Paso Robles, and people lost their mind. I was like, yeah, that doesn't make sense, right? A Texas tasting room in Paso Robles? Why would you do that, right? Same thing goes the other way. So
Okay. Well, you are partnering, I know, with this event today, especially. One of the things I love about what you're doing here is it's not just tables full of wines. You have other Texas food products, agricultural products. You even have a kind of special guest here. Sid Miller, I think, is going to be here
yes,
today. Is that
Commissioner
correct?
Miller will be here. We're very
Yeah.
excited about
So
that.
getting some of those key people on board with wine as an agricultural product, just like everything else, I think makes a big difference as well. Have you have any thoughts on some of that?
That's right. Yeah, so Texas Wine Growers is a partner with Go Texan, Uncorked Texas Wine, Texas Department of Agriculture. We love working with them. They're very, very supportive of Texas wine, and they are 100% on board with grape growing as an agricultural product in Texas, and they're here to support that. And that's what we love partnering with them with. And so we've got other Go Texan partners here because wine and food go together, right? That's what makes life wonderful. It's food makes wine better and wine makes food better. And so it doesn't get any better than all Texas wine and all Texas food. So that's what we're doing here, and we're going to have a great time.
Well, by the time this airs, this event will already have ended since it's going on today. But I know you host other events like this here and there. What could a listener or viewer expect if they came to one of these types of things? What are they going to see out there? What kind of things do you have going on today?
Yeah, so we've got I think 16 Texas wineries, at least 12 or 16 Go Texan food partners, all interspersed together in this beautiful facility here at Swallows Eve. And you can come by and you can taste all the wines and taste all the food, and you can buy everything here, which I think is really important to support local and support the Texas wine and Texas food products. So taste everything you like, buy everything, go home and support Texas.
And you got a couple of fireside chats too, I think, right? I'm sorry to mean to interrupt.
No, and I was just saying it's all authentic too, is what you're trying here today too.
Yeah.
So
we're doing several fireside chats. Our new members are doing some interviews, so you get to learn about some of our new winery members. Commissioner Miller will be here, so we'll be asking him some wonderful questions about Texas agriculture. And so it's really just a way to, if you're into wine and you like wine is this infinite rabbit hole where you can just keep exploring, and you can keep going deeper. And so if you're into wine, you want to come here and try all these wineries in one place, and you can learn so much about wine and Texas wine. It's a great education.
And I love you brought in Shelley Wilfong of the This is Texas Wine podcast.
Yes.
Great podcast, listeners. You got to check that one out if you haven't listened to it. She's so knowledgeable and great at what she does with hosting those types of things.
Well, we're very lucky to have so many wonderful Texas podcasts about Texas wine. So we love supporting all you guys. You're great.
Well, how were the wineries chosen that you're representing here today?
They are all Texas Wine Grower members.
Okay.
So every single one is here today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was it just kind of an open thing if you want to come on,
Yep.
or did you handpick certain
No,
things?
everybody's invited. Yep.
And then what about the food vendors and everything? How did y'all go about that?
The Go Texan helped find those guys and coordinate those guys. So yeah.
Excellent. Well, since you guys already have so much wine experience there at Sandy Road, you've got this great vine to bottle experience that you've been doing there. How does that leadership and your knowledge of the wine industry really transfer over to your leadership of Texas wine growers and what you plan to do there? How do you think that's going to benefit you?
Yeah, I mean, we live it every day, right? Like we're farmers, we're out there in the dirt, we're growing grapes, we're trying to make world-class Texas wine. We're trying to sell world-class Texas wine, and it's a hard business, but we're super passionate about it. We love doing it. We think it's a wonderful. We think Texas is a great fit for wine, and I think we're just getting started, and so we're super passionate about it already. And so being able to bring that passion and excitement to Texas wine growers, I think is just gonna hopefully help the whole industry. That's what we're here for. Yeah.
Well, my viewers and listeners, fortunately, most of them probably don't own a winery. And so how can they get involved in Texas wine growers? I know you have an advocate membership. What is that?
Yeah, so we do a Texas Wine Advocate program. It's real easy to sign up on the website at texaswinegrowers.com. And you get to become part of our family, and you get kind of first dibs on tickets to all of our events. You get news about what's going on in the Texas wine industry. If any of our partners are having events, you get notified about that, and you get discounts at these events and things like that. So it's just a good way to help support local Texas wineries and be part of the wine scene. And it's been going really well, and a lot of great people in that. So yeah, come sign up.
Yeah, you believe in the mission of Texas agriculture, Texas wine. You can get involved as well. You don't have to be a winery to be a part of Texas wine growers.
Oh yeah. Be a consumer, have a vineyard or a winery, and come hang out with us. Yeah.
And to go back to last year's hashtag we used a lot last year, Ask for Texas Wine. Viewers, continue to, as you go to restaurants, as you go to your grocery stores, as you go to places where there's wine, ask for Texas wine. The first thing I do is I look at a menu at a restaurant and look to see where the wine's from. Hey, why are there any Texas wine? We're in the middle of Texas. And ask for those things, because the more we can groundswell that, the bigger we can get more involvement.
Yeah, we're actually starting to see some really good momentum in that space. We actually put together a wine list of all Texas wine grower wines. It's on the website, so you can go get a nice, concise list that you could give to your favorite restaurant and be like, hey, if you're missing some Texas wines, here's a list. And we're all working together to get wine by the glass at restaurants because once people taste some Texas wine, they will be so impressed, and then they'll come looking for some more. So that's what we're hoping.
And that's like a direct line to, hey, you can easily get these wines to be able to put in your restaurant, because they're already in distribution and things like that.
Even if they're not in distribution, we have set up a way where you can directly contact the winery and get those wines at your restaurant.
See, that goes, I think, great hand in hand with Texas Wine Lover, Jeff Cope there. They have on their website a little card that you can print out that you can leave at a restaurant. Hey, you didn't have any Texas wines. Here's my favorite winery. Call them but this would be a direct line to those ones that we know that you can plug in directly now with these.
That's right. Yeah, just contact Texas Wine Growers and we can get you some amazing wine by the glass at your restaurant. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Understanding the dedication that goes into making every bottle of 100% Texas wine should elevate the experience of that very first sip that you take of that Texas wine. Whether you're looking to taste that distinct Texas terroir, or maybe you just want to support these farmers who are out there doing it from the ground up all the way to the glass. The Texas Wine Growers Association are the ones who are setting the standard. Now, if you want to do more than just drink Texas wine, which is a great objective, but if you want to do more than that and you want to really be a champion for Texas wine, then I would highly encourage you to join the Texas Wine Growers with their Texas Wine Advocate membership. This is the official consumer-focused part of their membership tiers that is designed specifically for those focused on that 100% Texas-grown mission. Not only do you get to support the Lone Star Wine Warriors in their legislative and educational efforts, but you're also going to unlock some fantastic perks for yourself. Membership includes access to special members-only events, special promotions, and get this, a one-time $50 credit toward the Texas Wine Ambassadors certification class from our friends at Hill Country Wine Academy, which we featured on another bonus episode here. It's the perfect way to turn your passion into professional level knowledge while supporting the integrity of every bottle. Now, another thing you can do, and one of the most impactful things you might be able to do for the Texas wine growers and the Texas wine industry, is to help us bridge the gap between your favorite wineries and your favorite local restaurants. Brian and his team there at Texas Wine Growers Association have made this easy through the Best of Texas wine list that's on their website. If you're out dining out and, like me, you look through that wine list, you look for Texas wines and you're not finding anything there, you can actually refer the restaurant owner or manager to their curated wine list that's right there on the website. It's a vetted list of high-quality, authentic Texas wines specifically selected for restaurant programs, complete with distribution and contact details. By pointing your local spots to the referral page, you are just asking for a great glass of Texas wine. You're helping to provide the solution that helps local businesses support Texas agriculture. So check out their website at www.texaswinegrowers.com. You'll find the Texas Wine Advocate membership information there, as well as that curated wine list. All right, well, it's time for me to get back out on the road to bring you more great stories of other wineries from the heart and soul of our Texas wine industry. And if you've enjoyed the episode, please take a moment to rate and review the episode wherever you get your podcasts. And for those watching on my YouTube channel, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Tell me, what is your favorite 100% Texas varietal? And with that, my time is up. So don't forget, subscribe to the podcast and follow my socials to be notified anytime a new episode is released. And until then, happy trails and bottoms up, y'all.
Thanks for listening to Texas Under Vine. We strive to provide you with the best information about wine businesses all over Texas. Be sure to check out our website at texasundervine.com and follow us on our socials at Texas Under Vine to stay up on all the upcoming episodes. Please email us with any suggestions or feedback. Also, contact us if you're interested in donating, sponsoring, or advertising on the podcast, just to help us cover our expenses and bring even more great info to you in future episodes. Above all, travel safely, and most especially, drink responsibly.
Howdy, Vine Trippers. Before we go, I wanted to direct you to my website, www.texasundervine, because there you're going to find a whole host of things. Besides access to the audio versions and the video versions of the podcast, you can also get those on any podcast provider, and then the video on YouTube. But there you're going to find a couple of things. Did you know that I actually sold some Texas Under Vine merchandise? I only have a handful of items available, about 5 different things, but they are up on my store. So if you go to the website, texasundervine.com, and go to the top, you're going to see a link for the merchandise store, and there you can get your own Texas Under Vine swag to proudly show all of your friends that you support the Texas wine industry, and you can get them started on and hooked on the podcast as well, so they can go visit even more of these great wine destinations. But in addition to the store, I also have a Patreon for my subscribers, people that support this show. I do this all out of a work of love from my heart. I do not make any money on this podcast. I'm actually in the red because I support it all out of my own pocket as a teacher. And it's mainly because I love wine and I love the Texas wine industry. So if you're willing to help me do that and you'd like to see more of these great episodes, hear more from these amazing winemakers, learn more about some fun destinations for you to go and visit on your own, I would appreciate if you would be willing to subscribe to my Patreon. So at the top of my website page, again, you'll find a Become a Patron link. And there you can get all the information about becoming a subscriber to the podcast here as a Patreon subscriber. It only costs a few dollars a month if you're willing to commit that. And there are various levels that you can commit to that each give you behind the scenes benefits that you don't get. And I do have some new things in the pipeline coming down soon. So you want to get on that sooner than later. But right now you can get things like behind the scenes photos at different wineries. You can get things like at one level, you'll get a video walkthrough of the winery. So for every episode, I will post a video walkthrough of me taking you through the winery itself so you can see what it's like before you go. And then at one level, you can even find out before everyone else where I'm headed the next week on the show as it comes out. So you'll know before everyone else. You get a sneak peek. So there's just different levels of benefits and they all cost a different amount. And as you subscribe, you become the heart of this podcast. You really are what helps me succeed. You are my community and my people. And thank you so much for those that do subscribe. So if you're interested in joining Patreon, check the Become a Patron link at the top of the website. So again, the website is www.texasundervine.com. You can also go to all of my socials. I'm at Texas Under Vine on almost all the social accounts. And check it out and consider sponsoring the podcast and maybe even buying some of that really cool swag on the merchandise store. Happy trails and bottoms up, fine trippers.